The following is a conversation I had with Owen Chau. He is the owner of AmpFit, a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, a new dad, and offensively strong. Owen continues to be an inspiration for me in my own strength journey, and I hope you enjoy this conversation.
I wouldn't pick Gilbert for my team. Like,
What? We're live, by the way, so that was on.
I would pick Corey instead.
I think, I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually going to participate. I think it's better if I don't, because then I can kind of ref the matches. I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I think I'm confident that everybody's like safe enough to train now, and they've only learned the one submission, so everybody's gonna be rear naked choking everybody.
But that's
up.
the only submission we're going to allow for now, right? Technically,
I think it's better. Everybody's trained before too, so it's kind of. Anyways, how did you find today's training, Owen? How was it for you?
It was good. I was, I guess seeing some stuff that I'm already doing, which is cool. Which is like, oh, cool, I do that by accident. And then just going through the lapel guard stuff.
Yeah, we didn't do much of it before. Do you like it though? I think it's cool. It's pretty sweet stuff. Do you feel like Josh is ahead of you now?
Yeah.
It's okay.
But like a lot of the things I think Josh maybe spends a little bit more time watching the videos and stuff, or is able to sometimes.
Yeah, well you do have.
Well, he's rendering at work or something.
Well, you do have a new baby. How's training with new baby?
It's good. It's definitely don't have the same energy. Energy's not there now. It's just getting the work done, showing up when I can.
It changes, hey.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. I mean, you've trained how many years? Just when did you start with the Strong First stuff? Years now, right?
Since Strong First started.
Yeah, so that's 20.
Before they were Strong First with the RKC in 2011.
Oh, okay. So that's a decade. That's more than a decade.
Yeah, more than a decade now.
That's a long time. But yeah, it's probably the first time in more than a decade where your schedule is not your schedule anymore, is it?
It's true. I used to be able to sleep so much. It was great. It was amazing.
Liv's probably just like, you used to be able to sleep.
Oh yeah, we both used to be able to. Now, 3 hours in a row is very nice.
It's true, right? How far we've fallen, where it's it gets better though. You just gotta sleep. You just gotta sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yeah.
But right now he's so little that he'll get up every couple hours.
It's
assuming, right?
when there's too much quiet, he wants to be up. Right, Liv? Yeah.
Too much quiet. So you started. What made you start with? I guess RKC back in the day. What's your background in athletics?
I was going through my human kinetics diploma. One of my teachers, Carmen Bott, she was certified through the RKC, and then she mentioned this thing, and then I was like, oh, that looks really hard. I want to do that. And so I went out and did it, and I went to Minnesota specifically to do it because it wasn't anywhere else really. It's either in San Diego or Minnesota, generally around that time.
San Diego sounds a lot better than Minnesota.
Yeah, I know, but it's just it wasn't available or something. It was sold out. I don't even remember. It was just Minnesota was the option. Okay, I'm going to Minnesota.
What was the? I don't know much about RKC. What was it like compared to what the Strong First standard is now?
The testing standards are similar.
Yeah.
It was double bells though.
Oh.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't make that much
Was there
of a
always a
difference
level 1 RKC, level 2? And
Yeah. So the curriculum's generally speaking the same, probably evolved a little bit over the years in teaching styles and certain cues and things that they use. It was definitely more militaristic back then.
Army pants only.
Yeah. More strict and, very, like I'd say, more gimmicky. I don't like it. There are certain things where it was just like a little bit more gimmicky and like sales, like focused. But it was really good. I learned a lot more than I anticipated, which was great because I remember seeing my first Pavel video ever. I was like, who is this like shirtless, weird Russian man?
Was it
like,
Enter the Kettlebell?
I don't, like, why would I listen to this guy? But, you know, actually he's a very smart man and he does know what he's talking about. It's just like those old productions were very gimmicky.
Yeah,
so it's like you either buy into it or you're very skeptical about it at first.
I remember I watched it's like VHS quality of Enter the Kettlebell, which was, it's just no shirt on the entire time.
Yeah.
He's in slacks.
And he's got his, like, you know, his dry humor, and it's just...
It's good. I think it's a good... Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It took some time to appreciate, but once you kind of get past that, it's like, it's very good.
I get the impression with him, it's like, when you're right, you can do whatever you want. Because you can, you know, do a video like that, but if it's correct, it's like, it works, right?
It doesn't matter, it
Do you, so because you have such a good, like, strong background in training, how did you find it when you first started jiu-jitsu? Because I'll say, like, jiu-jitsu is relatively, like, compared to the Strong First and just the program that you've, you know, showed me, it's very unstructured, to say it the least, like, just the most polite way. It's kind of like just a warm-up, do a random technique, and, like, drill it for a count of whatever. Like, do you see...
in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, do you find it, like, it's very different, I'm assuming, from the style of training you're used to.
It's difficult to see where it goes at first because there's just so many things.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, like when you start, you kind of jump in and it's like, okay, we're doing this technique today. And if you have no background or experience with it, it's, you know, like you really don't know what to do with it. So you just kind of like, you jump in, you try to find a moment where you can possibly do this thing you learned if you can remember it. And then, you know, and then you just keep doing it until you hopefully sort of figure out, which is kind of like, well, which is the reason why I like the style of coaching and the way we've been doing things. Because it's more, you know, these are the basic moves, and this teaches you like the concepts and principles to be able to apply this to all the other things. And it's been really good.
It's not your first martial art though, right? You did wushu before?
I did wushu. I mostly did wushu. Like I did a bunch of other little things here and there, but like nothing as serious.
And how you did that for a while, right?
I did wushu for like 11 years.
Yeah.
I basically stopped doing wushu and then I got into like training people and training. And then that's close to when I did the RKC, is close to around the same time that I retired, or I retired in the same year, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Actually, speaking of that, like in terms of militaristic, they tell you not to bring like cushy shoes to the cert.
Really?
Right? Because it's like, you're going to go bare feet
yeah,
over
yeah,
flat shoes,
okay,
right? So they tell you that.
Yeah.
And there was 90 people at the cert. Like it was huge back then. Or it was like, because I guess they compressed them all, right?
Yeah.
More so.
Okay,
So one guy didn't bring the shoes or like brought cushy shoes.
Oh.
Everyone had to carry their 24 or their test size bell around this park because the one guy.
Oh man, he was everybody's best friend. Oh man. So
good memories.
I wish I was I was stronger, obviously, but I think like the bell size, it's like the 150, they gotta put some more weights in there, man. It's like you're 150 and up, it's 24 kilos, right?
Well, the testing sizes now there are different weight selections. I think if you're under 150, it's 20 kilo.
Oh, okay. That's better.
And if you're over 220, it's a 28 kilo.
I remember looking at it, maybe it was a while back, but I was like, 24 kilos? I can't snatch that like twice.
But I think one of the logics behind it is it's not unrealistic for many. Well, it's going to be more difficult for a lighter person. is not unrealistic with consistent training. And you've already proven that with what you
about
can do
light
now.
and weak?
But that's because they haven't trained,
And
right?
short and small
because
hands.
that's because they haven't trained. But like, you know what? I've met a lot of crazy, strong, shorter, small guys, and you're one of them.
But
for sure.
my hands are so small.
My hands as a tall person are also so small.
Yeah, but like
The worst thing.
I appreciate it on some level where it's like, this is it. Like, it doesn't matter. And I remember in the Simple and Sinister book you got me, it says like, you know, there's no weigh-in for a street fight or something like that. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of goofy. But yeah, no, it's like the Simple, like the Sinister standard is, I have days where I'm like, maybe, but most days are like, oh no. Like, but yeah, it'd be nice if you like, you know, Sinister Light or something like that.
Like I'm like one of the lightest beast tamers, I think. With the beast tamer challenge, as you know,
Yeah.
is like the press with a 48, pull up with a 48, and pistol squat with 48 kilo.
Yeah.
I think he was 150,
150.
right at 150.
But 150 is not 130, Owen.
Or maybe maybe under. No, I think that he is definitely under. I think he was maybe closer to your weight.
I'm like, I walk around at about like 60 kilos and change, like 60.2, 60 point at any given time. So it's like, what, like 132, 135?
But this is where, like, I mean, like a lot of the things, there are trade-offs, right? It's like for the Beast Tamer Challenge, if you can press, or if you're bigger, you can probably press relatively easily. If you're smaller, you can pull it relatively easily, right? Because there's less weight to carry. Yeah. And then if you can pistol squat, like that's kind of anyone's challenge, because if you're not mobile enough and your legs aren't strong enough, it doesn't matter. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're big, because it'll be hard on the pull-up. And like, kind of doesn't matter if you're small, because it'll just be harder on the press.
Do you have any thoughts on, we talked about this before too, just applying some of the training styles from Strong First to Jiu-Jitsu. Most of the time you just go in there and as the class structure I described before, you do this thing and then you just fight like homeless people for a sandwich at the end. And that's the part that everybody
never
loves.
got that sandwich.
Yeah. But everybody loves fighting like a homeless person. It's like, I think most of the time when we start, it's like probably very glycolytic. I'm going to assume.
Oh yeah.
Because you're 100%, right?
You're just fighting for your life.
Yeah.
You're totally just fighting for your life.
White belt rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what we do here, I think it's a good way, but it'd be good to hear your thoughts on like, is there a way you would to approach this problem, to like apply some of those training principles to jiu-jitsu? What do you think you'd?
Well, I think one of the main difficulties of doing something like jiu-jitsu and like doing only specific drills is the fact that it's so varied. There's so many options, which is why the rolling and fighting like homeless people variation is like, oh yeah, you figure it out because there's so many. You're just going to go through all these things and eventually you'll learn.
Yeah.
Which to a certain degree works, but it can also be, it's a very, very slow process because, you either figure it out or you don't. But from the like concept and principle perspective, if we kind of learn these things and then we can tie them in together and we do these restraint drills.
Yeah.
Like I find that gives you the variety without, gives you a fair amount of variety for you to figure out and like tie things together without overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
And then to a point where you can, add in this thing to another thing and then eventually you combine all the things and then it just like melds together like very nicely.
Yeah, I think, shout out to Rob for his F your jiu-jitsu drills. But, I think that's like the closest thing that I can think of because it dials you back and it doesn't, like it's got built-in limiters for you not to go too hard. Almost like a talk test style where I think, but I mean, like, I'm pretty out of breath. In like top control or lots of escapes, you do get out of breath. So maybe talk test isn't bad, but it definitely like slows you down a bit.
But I mean, it's like, it's going to be challenging, but you don't feel like you're dying. Like
I feel like I'm dying.
Well,
sometimes.
it's like it's a slightly different.
Yeah,
training
different
mentality.
dying.
Yeah.
I guess also because we don't do any submissions in that kind of drill. Like everybody doesn't want to get submitted, and if that's kind of out of it, I think another thing is like psychologically for like the escapes. I'm like I will escape because you're at a handicap, and you know if you can carry that mindset into like a live match where you're like, oh, I will escape. It cools you off, I think. But
Yeah, I feel like just like the parallels between that type of training and the type of like the strong first style of training that we do, which is like not going to an incredibly heavy weight that your body's like fearful of, but it's just kind of
every
like,
day.
you just kind of choose this like happy medium weight that you can stay fairly neutral with, and you work through and you progressively just like adjust your technique and make it better and better to a point where the heavier weight surprisingly feels no different, which you've proven with,
Yeah.
Like, I've never done the 40 kilo get up before, and then suddenly it's like, boom, 40 kilo get up. That was easy.
Big. I feel I like their concept of how a training session should give you more than it takes out of you. And I find with this constraint style training that we do, like all our sessions here, I mean, the technique is a half, but we're moving for upwards of, 24 out of 30 minutes, for the rounds. And everybody's pretty active because it's short and 3 minutes, but, like I never feel beat up the way I used to do. So I think that's probably heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think like with that, we actually also feel like we can definitely feel the learning taking place as we're going through it.
It's really nice for me to watch you guys. You guys are all getting very competent, and it's becoming more difficult to hang in the room.
And it's still like, we're learning, but it's still very complicated. It's still not getting
It doesn't
forward,
get
but yeah,
any easier ever. Do a lot of people in Strong First train jiu-jitsu? I know a few. I remember Hyunjin came in.
A fair amount of them do.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people in Strongford, but I know a lot of like some team leaders and senior instructors are like pretty high level jiu-jitsu practitioners.
I see a lot of people on the forums too.
Kind of want to roll with them, but also like I don't know if I do want to roll with them.
I have a suspicion that a lot of them are quite like old school, I think, like traditional style jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I'd be wondering if they'd be interested in doing kind of like the style that we do, where it's more constraint based. The thing I'm most proud of overall, honestly, is 0% injury rate since June. That's unheard of, And I feel like everybody trains here. We I wouldn't say we go hard, but we're working. So that's huge, right? I think.
Yeah.
No injuries.
I think one of the things is just like most like jiu-jitsu instructors do kind of go with the old school route. Like that's just how it's always been done. So they may not have been introduced to like this style of training, for example.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think those of you guys are going to be more more competent than me, like shortly, because of this conceptual approach that we do. And yeah, it's just, I think there's some merit to, I think the only reason I'm hanging in there is because of the volume I've had. I've got like almost a decade of experience on a couple of the newer people. So that helps. But I think like, oh no, people are getting good. Like Gilbert is a problem. That's like,
damn Gilbert.
Here it comes. Start trashing Gilbert immediately. We'll be like, who is this guy?
This is the podcast role. We have to talk about Gilbert.
We do. He's come a long way in the most positive. Like, it's not like he's horrible before or anything like that. I just feel like he's made it's like Canada's worst driver improvement style. Like he's come so far, and his getup is horrible. I saw him do it to Eves today, and Eves was like, "What's going on here? Like, what is this? He's just pushing me off of him."
Don't worry. Before March 27th, I'm gonna stop making him do the getup.
Just sabotage him or something like that.
You're only allowed to get up with no weight.
I think that'll be fun on the 27th. I hope. It's too bad some people have kind of not been present as much lately. I wanted to, I haven't seen Wes or Will. Those guys are busy, but I think it's fun, like doing these kind of in-house kind of things. We'll have to celebrate with more food. Who are you gonna pick as who's your ideal?
I don't even know.
Gilbert?
I was like, Corey. Well, I'm like, Josh already picked Gilbert. So
Gilbert doesn't have to say yeah. I mean,
I'm like, I don't even fully know how it's gonna, like, I have no idea. I'm like,
so we're gonna do it teams of 2. I think we'll decide on the day. If people already come in, they can pick their own teams, but if nobody wants to have a teammate or can't decide, then we'll pair people up. My thinking is 5 minutes, submission only, and the elimination format. So either if somebody submits, they stay, and the next person comes up. If neither guy submits, then they're both eliminated, and 2 guys come up. I'll have to think of maybe a tiebreaker if everybody gets eliminated, because it's hard to submit people. But I
feel like if I'm gonna choose someone based on submission, I choose Corey, because he'll catch someone. He's bound to catch someone.
I was if he's dressed in his Sambo attire, I was thinking about that too. I'm like, I think I'll even leave it open as to whether you want to do it no gi or you want to do it as a gi, with the caveat that if you wear a gi, then you can strangle someone with it, but you also have to someone can strangle you with it as well. So Corey will just wear the top, no belt. I'm fine with either way. I think the way we train here, just with the rules as is anyways, we were do whatever you want. Because we did spend a lot of time doing mostly gi, just because laundry is way better for no gi.
It is. It is way better.
Yeah. You think Corey, huh? But then if you guys are the successful team, then you're going to have to fight Corey for your super
I know,
fight.
it's true. It's true.
You bested him last time for the belt.
But then, I can lose with honor.
You just got to go out on your shield. Just got to look good. Oh, man. Be part of somebody's highlight reel. That's the way to do it. Oh, man. You commented, you talked about it before, just when you did the RKC, it's because it's doing something hard.
Very different training mindset back in the day.
Yeah.
Very, has definitely changed. I've definitely changed my perspective on training over the years.
So what were you thinking? Because Josh and I talked about this last time, how it's important to do hard things. And I think one of the things is jiu-jitsu is so freaking hard. And it's one of those endless pools of difficulty where, I don't know, I wouldn't say you can't reach the top, because there's high level dudes out there, like Gordon Ryan is apex up, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's not 100% you can beat anybody on the planet any day, anytime, anywhere. So I think there's benefits, Josh and I talked about, of doing these really difficult things. But it's interesting that you also said, it seems like all the people who are in jiu-jitsu like to do difficult things.
Well, I like to do moderately difficult things now.
Moderately?
Back then it was no one has it here, or there was 2 other people. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get it too, right?
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. But definitely doing something that's challenging to help you overcome certain limitations or things that you feel are limitations is going to help, just in everyday life. Right? Just,
doing hard stuff gives you the confidence to do more hard stuff we talked about.
Having that self-confidence is huge for just anything, really. And I find that strength training is one of those things.
Along with 100%.
Jiu-jitsu definitely can help with that too, but sometimes because there's so much going on, it's not an easy thing to walk into and hope that you'll build confidence through it.
Yeah. It's a lot of failure built in. I think one of the best benefits of the pandemic was, thanks to you, I just because as you know, I pulled the plug early. I'm like in February. I'm like, oh, this is like February 2020. I'm like, this is probably going to be here for a while, and it's probably going to be pretty bad. So I kind of just stopped training mid-February completely, which is pretty unheard of for me because I've been doing it for over a decade, like 4 or 5 days a week. And then I just kind of, I remember you gave me the Simple Sinister book, and I'm like, I guess I'll just do this. And I doubled down on that, man. I swung that stupid giant cast iron piece of garbage.
But it started off at 20, right? 20?
I started off at 20 because I couldn't manage the one arm swing. It was just too much rotation, and my weak baby hands couldn't hold it. I was okay with the 2-arm swing with 24, but I think I started in April. Or like March or something like that. But I started with 20 for one-arm swings and 24. My getup was okay, I think, just because of jiu-jitsu. At that time, I was able to do a poor 32, but I think I rolled it all back to 24. And then, yeah, it was really good. It was my first time, like, focusing on strength, anything. And it was, so thanks for that. That was pretty cool.
It was really cool to see your progress.
Yeah, it's been, but I think what you said, like, the confidence to do, like, I remember when I was trying to, like, I couldn't even conceive of the idea of swinging the 32 one-handed. I'm like, there's no way. I can barely swing, like, the 20, but now it's, like, a pretty comfortable working weight, so it's kind of cool.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll never be able to use the 32. I was like, just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
It'll happen.
I think the consistency really helped. So I'm wondering, like, do you think you could translate that consistency into jiu-jitsu? Where I think one of the big things is, like, because I was training, like, sometimes, like, 7 days a week, just because the recovery was okay. What do you think? How would we do that if we wanted to train jiu-jitsu every day? Do you think it'd be those constraint drills?
Probably, yeah.
Most
I'd say, like, if you have the time and the energy, I'd probably go that route for sure. But then it's like, it all comes down to, like, how much time you have available, how much time you really want to spend on it.
Yeah.
And if you want to get pretty good with minimal, like, time and cost, then I'd say, like, 2 times a week, like 1 to 2 times a week, just like strength training. Like, it seems to parallel pretty well, would probably do, like, decently. Like, you won't necessarily be, like, the best in the world, but you'll be much better than those that don't train consistently at all.
I think we're pretty good here. Like, I get 1, maybe 2 sessions in, and it's good. In terms, I know, like, there's a bunch of products out there. I think even Simple and Sinister, honestly, it seemed like kind of tuned towards, like, jiu-jitsu. In my mind, I'm like, but what do you think? Like, now that we're both running this clean and jerks, oh gosh, do you think the best exercise for, like, best carryover effects for jiu-jitsu would be swings and get-ups, clean and jerk, double clean and jerk, presses?
I think there's just, like, I guess, a spectrum of exercise. Like, it's just like there's no best thing. It just kind of depends where you are in terms of your
People
level.
want the best, Owen. They just want,
I know, but some
want
people,
the best.
some people aren't ready for, like, the best, right? Like, like, if your shoulder mobility sucks, like, you probably shouldn't even do a press, let alone a jerk.
That's
right.
True.
It's like, if you can't deadlift, you shouldn't swing. If you, you know, like,
I
that,
didn't even think of that. Yeah.
It all comes down to, like, fundamental things, right? Like, of course, if you're very well trained in all the things, then the clean and jerk is a really good way to go about that. But there are a lot of moving parts to doing that well.
Yeah. So not swings. I think the get up is the best exercise.
I think the swing and the get up are great exercises for it, and one of the reasons why it's kind of meant to be the base, or, like, seen as sort of the base from Simple and Sinister, is because of the fact that many people have poor shoulder mobility. Many people have, like, weak shoulders and poor posture, so the get up done well can help with these things.
So if it's get up and swing is kind of like baseline, where would you go if you need to regress? Like you said, you could, if you can't deadlift, you shouldn't swing, right? So would you be like, if you step back from the swing, you'd do a deadlift?
Yeah, you'd probably work on the deadlift, work on hinging without any weight.
How would you step back from the get up? Is it, I guess like no weight?
No weight, maybe just the roll to elbow, just breaking it down into pieces.
I like what you do with like your seniors class, because I feel like, that's kind of cool. Like if seniors can do it, nothing against seniors. If seniors can do it, like anybody can do it.
I mean, there's always some variation, like regression that's possible for anyone at any level.
I thought you were going to say there's some super jacked seniors out there that are just,
There
are probably some super jacked
There are,
seniors.
yeah, there totally are, yeah.
Gilbert? Yeah. He's not a senior.
He's not a senior.
He's not a senior. Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you think you're going to put your little one in? It's going to be a family affair?
Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, once Liv.
Totally.
Liv.
We're gonna... I have so many things I want to do. We'll see. We'll see what Liv's okay with too. So we can't force him into everything.
She's just smiling.
It's like, I'll just try to teach him what I know, which is not that much. But, we'll figure it out.
I want to get Max in here so you guys can make him strong. He's got a lot of energy, so he needs to do something. But yeah, I think it'll be...
We'll just let the kids run free in here.
Man, Logan's going to be the CEO.
As long as they don't drop anything on themselves, they'll be fine. And they'll just get stronger from playing.
It's true.
And then we'll structure their training once they're older.
Do you think it's possible for you to achieve the level of black belt before Imri is, like, understands what a black belt is, so he'll only know you as a black belt?
I don't know, John. What do you think? I don't know.
I think... I mean, maybe. I think you can... There's some, like, legit black belts, like, with the new style of training, like, 3 to 5 years. If you're super consistent, I think you could do it. You probably could if you had the time, which is difficult with the baby. But that was one of the nice things when Max was born. I can't remember when I got my black belt, like July, maybe June.
Damn, we got a baby too early.
Yeah, exactly. Should have waited. But I got my black belt shortly after he was born. So it's just one of those kind of interesting things where I can almost tell him when if he goes, I've been a black belt longer than you've been alive. Close. No.
I need to do that.
It's like the same thing with this mustache. I tell Jen, I'm like, maybe if he just always knows that I've had this bad mustache, she'll just give in and let me keep it. Probably not, because she hates the mustache, but yeah, it's like he'll only know you as black belt dad. Like my dad's just always been a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So, or his mom too. Yeah, both of you guys. By the time he's 5.
One thing at a time.
One thing at a time.
Owen first.
Selfishly, Owen first. Yeah, hopefully, I think it'll be good. Get kids lifting club and kids jiu-jitsu club and dog care center. Oh, Udon. She's just staring at me all mad and stuff. Shh. It's okay. Yeah. So you think, Corey, for sure, it's going to be, are you putting it out there that you're going to... We changed the date for that guy because he's in Kelowna.
I know.
What if he turns you down? He's like, oh, sorry, I've already made plans.
It's very possible. Story of my life.
Liv's just not impressed with this conversation. It's probably a good time to put a pin in it. Yeah, thanks, Owen. Thanks for talking to me. And,
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Liv.
Thanks, Liv.